Hey everybody, it's Coach Ben at ASAP Fitness again. And if you're doing our programming, you'll notice over the next month, we're gonna be doing a 1,000 meter row every week, and we're gonna see how we improve over that time. Now our good old 1,000 meter row, I think is a really tough distance to row, because is it a sprint? Yes. But is it kind of on the longer side? Well, maybe. But so how do we go about and attack it? So let's talk about a couple things first. Our 500 meter split time. So if you notice one of the numbers on the screen, we talked about setting up our monitor last week with just some of the basics. And we want to kind of dial in, what do we want that 500 meter split time to be? Some of you are asking, well, I don't even know what that is. And so every time you're pulling on that handle, the monitor display will give you an estimation on if you keep pulling at that same power output and speed, it's going to take you so long to row 500 meters. Just like if you're a mile runner and you're running 4 times around the track, you kind of know what your split times are going to be. So if it takes you 2 minutes to run 400 meters, you have a good idea that over a course of a mile, over 1,600 meters, it's probably going to take you about 8 minutes. So your 500 meter split time should be just a tad bit slower than your 500 meter sprint, your fastest sprint ever, just at 500 meters. So we're going to go a little slower. Guys, I think it's totally reasonable to keep your 500 meter split time for a 1,000 meter row under 1:50, okay? Let's push the pace on this, all right? So maybe you're sneaking up towards 2 minutes. I think we can maybe go a little faster. Ladies hitting around that 2 minutes or 2:15, that's all right. But remember, this is a sprint. So now that we have that 500 meter split time, how do we use that and how do we attack the whole 1,000 meters? So what's our game plan? So I've broken it down here. We have that 1,000 meters broken up into 4 parts. Your first 250 meters, the next, so you're hitting 500 meters total, then you get to that 750 mark, and finally you're finishing out that whole thing. In my mind, when I do 1,000 meters, I lump this first 500 kind of together, okay? Now, we want to start off pretty hard, but I'm thinking about 85%, okay? That's what I'm thinking. 85% of my max effort. We can't start off slow, all right? Because we don't have a lot of time in 1,000 meters to really catch up. Maybe over a long distance, if you're a half marathon or marathon runner, you can start slow at the beginning and gain speed, but we got to start off at a pretty quick pace. At this 500 meter mark, it's going to start to hurt. Okay, it's really going to start to hurt. You still have 500 meters left, okay, but you just kind of have to push through it. This 500 to that 750 mark right here, I think this is where 1,000 meters, this race is really won. Do you have what it takes mentally to push through the pain and just really go for it? So here we're operating at about 90 to 95%, probably about 90% of our max ability. We're pushing really hard. The pain's really starting to come in. We're trying to drive with our legs. We're really starting to feel it in our legs. Once we finally hit 750 meters, it is everything we got left in the tank for that last 250 meters. So this last part right here, we're going at 100%. It is all out, everything that you have. You're holding on to that handle and you're driving. Maybe you just close your eyes and kind of zone out, okay? That 250 meters, for a lot of us, we can get done in under a minute, and we just need to push through for that minute and hopefully set a new PR on our 1,000 meter row. Next, we're going to look at real quickly just how to kind of set up our monitor. There's a couple different ways we can do that on our monitor, and there's some better views that I think than others to really help us get the fastest time possible. So let's go over to the monitor and check that out. All right, everybody, we're here looking at the monitor. We're going to go ahead and just turn this thing on. So remember, you can just hit any button, that monitor should pop on, or if you start to row. So how do we set up for 1,000 meters and get the most accurate time? So I think the best way to do that is we're going to come here and go to Select Workout. Okay, we're on our main menu, and then just hit Select Workout. And then we're going to go down to New Workout here, just right here. Hit that button. So after New Workout, we have a bunch of different options. We're going for 1,000 meters, so it's a single distance. We're not going for a time or calories or intervals today. So we're going to go for 1,000 meters. So we're going to hit single distance right here, that top button. And now we'll get to this screen. We have that blinking 2. So right now it's set up for 2,000 meters. So we have all these buttons here on the side. We're going to hit this minus sign right here just to turn that 2 into a 1. And then we're all set. It has changed your split length or your optional pace boat. For now, for today, just to keep it simple, we're going to ignore that. So we're set up for 1,000 meters, and we just hit this bottom button right here. And now we have this screen. So be careful not to grab the handle quite yet, because if we start pulling, the timer will start instantly. So we don't want that quite yet. So we have a couple different views. Here we can see our 1,000 meters, and we start pulling. It's going to start counting down. We have our strokes per minute here, and then we have a bunch of information there in the bottom. So I'm going to slowly start pulling this, start rowing just a little, just to get things going. And you'll notice also all these numbers start to pull up. Okay, now, so we have our 500 meter split time. On average, how long is that going to take you? All right, now keep in mind, I'm just using this for a demonstration. But I really like this view because we can come down here to the bottom and see our projected finish. Now, a 7:34,000 meters is a really slow time, but as you're rowing, it will give you an idea of when you might finish. So you can either go faster or slower if you know you're going out too hot. You can always change the display, okay? So it gives you just some different options. I think either this view right here, the large print view, or this view with all the numbers are the options you want to go with. So it's nice because if I hit just this bottom button right here, it takes it to the large print. If I go up here to this top button, it takes you to all these numbers. So if you're a person that likes to have all the information, this is a great view to go with. But if you don't want all the numbers, this is a great view to go with. We have the total number of meters remaining, our 500 meter split time, the total elapsed time, and how many strokes per minute. The really cool thing about this is when you finish exactly 1,000 meters, it will give you your exact time down to the 10th of a second. So you don't have to be rowing and you're completely exhausted, then have to look up at the clock that a coach set. This will already give you the time and it will keep it stored for you.